Born December 8th, 1542, Mary Stuart was the only legitimate child of James V of Scotland to survive, and wouldn't have to wait long for her throne, as only 6 days after her birth, her father passed away, and she was made Queen of Scotland. But as she was unfit to rule, as she was barely a week old, various regents filled in her position during infancy. This is the story of Mary, Queen of Scots. Mary would not stay in her home country for long, as in 1548 she was sent off to be married to Francis, Dauphin of France, at only 6 years old. She was then brought up in France in hopes to avoid the upcoming English invasion, and after being raised there for 10 years, she finally married Francis in 1558. However, only 2 years later, in 1560, Francis passed away, and Mary, now widowed, returned to Scotland the next year to rule. Now back in Scotland, Mary remarried after 5 years of being a widow. However, not completely of her own volition. She married her half-cousin, Henry Stuart, Lord of Darnley, and was forced into the marriage by her advisors. She protested the marriage as he was an English subject and, more importantly, related to her, but yet the marriage went ahead. However, their marriage quickly turned due to Henry's hunger for power, wanting the throne for himself, and his growing jealousy of Mary's secretary and close friend, David Rizzio, who was rumoured to be the father of Mary's yet-to-be-born child. Darnley and a group of conspirators sought out to kill him, and ended up stabbing him right in front of the then-pregnant Mary at a dinner party in Holyrood Palace. The murder of Rizzio led to the breakdown of the couple's marriage, and led Mary and a group of nobles to secretly plan how to separate the couple. Many options were floated around, with the main one being divorce. However, due to circumstances, divorce was completely off the table. So instead of breaking up the two, they decided that they would get rid of Darnley for good. In 1567, Darnley was found dead in the garden of his residence, which was found in pieces, being destroyed in an explosion. The death was widely believed to be at the hands of James Hepburn. However, he was never convicted of the charge, and a week after being fully cleared of anything related to the case, he married Mary. However, something much bigger was brewing at the time. An uprising had begun against Mary and her new husband, and Mary was swiftly imprisoned at Lochleven Castle. She tried to fight the imprisonment and regain her throne, but failed. She escaped to England and tried to get the help of her first cousin, once removed, Queen Elizabeth I. However, she was out of the frying pan and going into the fire. In an attempt to regain the throne, Mary, along with a small army, headed for England. However, due to her controversial status amongst Scots, she and her army were attacked, and defeated, she continued the journey alone. After reaching England, she pleaded her case to Queen Elizabeth, and expected her to aid her. However, Elizabeth was unsettled and skeptical of Mary, as she worried that she might be a threat to her throne. And upon further investigation into Mary's character, she found out that Mary once claimed that she was the rightful owner of the English throne, as she was the great-granddaughter of Henry VII. And many Catholics agreed with this notion. After determining this, Elizabeth saw Mary as a major threat and had her locked up away for years. After 18.5 years, Mary was found guilty of orchestrating a plot to kill and overthrow Elizabeth, and thus her life was put to an end. So, in 1586, Mary Stuart was finally beheaded at the age of 44, after spending almost half her life locked away.